Hey, 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 you know what day it is? What day is it? It's Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. It's Tuesday Tea with D. Come on, Tuesday Tea with D. 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 Hey, boo, hey, listen, your girl is back. She is back. Listen, and unfortunately, we are not back with tea today. We are doing warm lemon water. If you have been following me since the new year started, so happy new year, happy new year, happy 2024. And so listen, we are here with a new year. And so hopefully you have been missing your girl. Yes, I have been gone for a couple of weeks. I've been resting, taking care of some things on the home front, preparing for 21 days of prayer. And so as of today, January 9th, 2024, we are 9 days into 21 days of prayer for 2024. And if you have not been joining us, honey, you're missing out. And so I'm going to share these details right here. Let me see if I can find, I want to share this. And so if you have not been joining us for 21 days of prayer, can I just tell you that you're missing out, right? You are totally missing out. And so what I am going to say is for you to go to Instagram. That might be the easiest way, or you can just DM me on Facebook or Instagram and just type in the word prayer, and I will send you the link that so you can show up, right? I'll send you the link so you can show up. It has been amazing. This year's theme is called Elevated Pressure. And so I don't know about you, but I had already been feeling elevated pressure before God had even given me that theme. And so the women have just been just coming out the ring swinging. You know what I'm saying? Like they're choosing violence during these 21 days of prayer, but it is helping us. It is edifying us. We've had women who have committed their lives to Jesus. We had 4 women a couple of nights ago. Give their lives to Jesus. We had a few women to repent and recommit back in fellowship with God. And so God has really just been doing some awesome stuff. And even though your girl is tired, I'm not going to lie, y'all, we ain't going to front. Your girl is tired. You hear me? But I'm feeling good. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling good, even though I'm tired. I got the Jesus fasting glow. And so we're also fasting for 21 days of prayer, which is why I'm doing the hot water with lemon, because from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. there is no food. So if you're interested in joining the corporate fast, make sure you join us for 21 days of prayer. Give all the details every night for those who are joining, because I know some people have been joining. Literally, we've got new people joining every single day. I believe there are probably about 130 women as of right now who have registered to sign up. And even on the live, I think we have upwards of anywhere between 40 on a low day and 70 to 75 on a high day of women who are joining us on Facebook and on YouTube. So I hope that you are well. I hope that you had a great holiday. I hope that you brought in the new year in a way that felt good to you, exactly the way that you wanted to. And I hope that this year has gotten off to an amazing start for you. And 21 days of prayer has been really good for me. I have my journal is over there. I'm not going to pick it up, but I created a reflection and prayer journal. And so this year, every year is personal, but this year is really personal for me. There are some milestones and some things that I really want to accomplish. And God revealed to me last year that is possible. And so I'm holding fast to that. And I know that there is some elevated pressure that is going to be happening in regards to, how I show up. But I am committed to staying the course. I am committed to making sure I do my due diligence in doing the work. And so every single day that the women are coming, we have 21 speakers. So it's 21 days, 21 speakers, one powerful encounter. And so each day we have a new speaker. And so I'm committed to taking notes, and I'm listening just like, I'm one of the other ladies, right? I spoke on day 1. And so every single day, even though I'm facilitating, I'm taking it in, even listening to it, listening to the replay after the fact, so that I can really take it in and take extra notes. So at any rate, The year has, like I said, I'm up past my bedtime, but it is worth it. The sacrifice is worth it. And so I want to personally invite you to 21 Days of Prayer. We're here all the way through to January 21st, 2024, every night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so find me on Facebook or on YouTube. And as a matter of fact, in the description for this week's Tuesday Tea with D, I will also put the information where you can click in, sign up for 21 Days of Prayer. I forgot about that you could just do that right below. All right. So today I'm going to take a sip of this water, even though it's not tea. And I love lemon water anyway. I think I've told y'all that, like, drinking it first thing in the morning is like really, really good for you. And even though I didn't have it this morning, I'm excited that I get to have it now, because technically I haven't eaten anything all day. So it's kind of like the same thing. All right. So we are talking about 23 lessons from 2023. 23 lessons from 2023. And I'm going to be honest with you, I have more than 23 lessons. And so I'm debating on whether or not I want to do 15 this week and 15 next week. As you can add, that's 30, right? I have about 7 that are bonuses. And so we'll see where we are when I get to 15, how much time we have. I think what I'm going to do is break it up anyway. And so that if I need to expand upon something, I can. And I don't feel pressured to give you a whole bunch of stuff in a short amount of time. So let's have conversation here. So the first lesson that I learned, and so these are also, they're lessons and some of them are reminders. And so it's not something that, it's something that I've known, but it was like a reminder, like, remember, right? It's like, oh yeah, like this is really important, right? And so this first one, I would say, is probably a reminder and a lesson. These are in no specific order, just kind of how they came out of my head. The first one is rest is essential. If you know anything about me, you know I'm big on rest. And as a matter of fact, my number 9, I'm just going to bring it up to make it number 2. So number 1 is rest is essential. And number 2 is take naps often, right? And so we understand the importance of rest. And rest is not just naps, which is why they're 2 separate lessons and reminders. But it really is important for you to rest. It really is important for you to make time to allow your body to settle down, to restore and refresh, and even just to replenish. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm thinking of all the re's that I don't want to say, but I think you really want to make sure that you're making time for rest. Like, you are intentional with resting. I talked to the ladies yesterday at the end of 21 Days of Prayer, and it may have been day 7 or day 8. And I talked about the fact that, like, when 21 days is over, that last week of June, I'm like out. Like, I'm not going to be doing anything. That is going to be a full week for me. And I'm going to be intentional about making sure that I'm not planning anything that week. I have a couple of things that I have planned, but there isn't anything that I'm doing that will require me to do a whole lot of stuff. Like, I'm going to be out of commission. And if God can rest on the 7th day after completing the task of creating the universe, right, in 7 days, creating the world in 7 days, in 6 days, then for me, after 21 days, honey, I'm going to rest, right, for the next probably 3 or 4 days, and just kind of really recalibrate and get myself back on track, right? So rest is essential, and take naps often. Naps are, if you do research, they will tell you that naps are healthy for you. They're not just for kindergarten, right? Not just for pre-K, not just for, daycare, but as adults, our bodies need rest, and naps help with that. They also help with productivity. I won't go into that. And so the next thing, the lesson or reminder I had is that God is faithful. And, just sitting back and thinking about the things that I had experienced in 2023 and how God showed up in multiple ways, it just reminded me, like, yeah, he's faithful, right? I don't know about you, but if you think about, your life, and you think about how he showed up in particular ways, and you're like, wow, he's so faithful. He's so consistent. He's so loyal, right? The other thing that I learned is that I can do hard things with ease and sometimes without ease, right? And so the goal is to be able to flow with grace and ease in the things that we do, but sometimes it's not with ease. Like, sometimes you just got to go gully, and you just got to go in and get it done. And I learned that I could do that. And not that I didn't know that I could do it, but when you're doing something different and doing something new, it's different because sometimes your brain doesn't register like, oh, I've done this before. And so it's on the other end of it that you're like, I can do hard things and I can do them well. I can do them with ease and I can just do them if even if there's no ease in it. Right. The next one is sometimes things turn out better than you thought. I hit a milestone in my business for revenue around November. And I sent a text message to my accountant because I was just like, in everything that I had been through in 2023, I hadn't been as focused on my finances as I should be. And I'm learning that as an entrepreneur. And so when I was going through and kind of recalculating some things, and I really wasn't even looking for that particular number, I think I was looking for something else and happened to look at the number. And I was just like, we did this year. And so I was like, the lesson is like, sometimes things turn out better than you thought. Cause sometimes you can be going through a thing. And because you're going through a thing and because life is seeming kind of like crazy and stuff is up and down and tipsy turvy, you don't really realize that like it's better than you think. And it is, right? It was for me at least. The next one is help is necessary. Ask for help. And so the lesson for that for me was coming out of 2023 and going into 2024. I'm going to be very intentional with looking forward to adding my first staff member to my team this year. And then also, even if it's like a virtual assistant or maybe a personal assistant, I have to decide where the greater need is so that I can really kind of show up in the spaces that I need to show up in. But I came out of 2023 with the understanding that asking for help and really asking for support is necessary for me to operate as my best and highest self and at my highest capacity in what I do as a business owner and also as a woman, as a mom, all the things, right? And so with that, the next one is systems ease. Processes are also necessary, right? And so I need to do better with my systems. I need to do better with automation. I need to do better with my processes, my SOPs, like my standard operation procedures, all of those things that sometimes you have, but you're not really using. I'm like, bruh, we need to get this in gear. And so I'm looking forward to implementing more systems, more processes, more automation in my business in areas that allow me to do with things that I need to do. So some of that stuff I don't have to do. Right. And then also bringing on a team member to be able to assist me in some of the stuff that I don't have to do will also be helpful. One of the things that I also learned is paying attention to patterns work, right? And so if you know anything about me, you know that I teach about pattern recognition and paying attention to the patterns that happen in your life, your business, whatever, so that you're not caught off guard. And so there were a couple of things that happened that didn't catch me off guard this time. And I was very intentional with when we talk about some things aren't done with ease. Like I had to kind of push through it because I was committed to getting the work done. I was committed to doing what it was that needed to be done in my business. So I was really happy and proud of myself because ultimately, like I could have said, you know what, this is a lot. I think we need to pause. And that actually is I think there's one in here. I'm trying to think because these are in like random order. Oh, it's the next one, right? And so when it says pay attention to patterns, it helps in how you react to when they show up. And so then my next lesson was know when it's time for you to pause versus when you need to lean into a thing and keep going. And so I learned that there are some things that I don't have to pause in. I kind of have to make some changes and I have to adapt to some things, but I don't necessarily have to pause. I literally can keep going. And I did. I was proud of myself for that too, you know? This is where I had take naps often. The next one I had is invest in yourself. And I think it is important, and I talk about this a lot from a personal development standpoint, because I don't think that we talk about it enough. Like mindset, the inner work, healing, even like self care, making sure that you invest in like staycations or vacations, whatever, vacations, whatever, but creating space for you to invest in yourself, right? The books that you buy, the massages that you get, um, the coaching that you get, the mentoring, like all of those different things on a personal level. And people don't talk about it, but who you are personally really does impact how you show up professionally. And so we could be great at what we do, but a lot of times we could be even better if we do the inner work, if we do the personal work. And so it really is important for us to invest in ourselves, to invest in our businesses, to invest in specific areas as it relates to our careers, to invest in ourselves personally. And so a lot of what I do is professional work, but it's personal work, right? And so I have people who come to me because they want to show up in a greater capacity, right? Helping you to get out of your own way so that you can show up for yourself in the same way you show up for others. And so you have no problem showing up at work and doing all the things. It's when it comes to you that there is an issue. And so, and be intentional about the return on investment that you want, and not specifically from the person you're investing in, but from yourself, right? There are certain things that I had invested in and I wasn't getting a return on investment, not because the coach or the program didn't work, it's because I didn't work it. And so there were things that I had to go back to, and I had to redo them, and I had to implement them, and I had to do them multiple times to make sure that I was fully understanding what it was that I needed to understand so that I could implement and execute in a way that was it was a return for me, right? And so make sure that and then the next point after investing in yourself is doing the work, right? When you do the work, it works. When you do the work, it works. I've been doing the work and it has been working, and I'm proud of myself. And so I would encourage you to take some time to think about what lessons you learned in 2023. And I'm not done yet. I think I have 3 or 4 more to go before we close out until next week. But think about and make a list, or and it's crazy because I did it in an audio memo. I talked it through and then I transcribed it into the notes on my phone. And so it was interesting listening to myself, but it was even more interesting reading them and writing them. And then as I started writing, more came because I'm like, oh, shoot, like I learned that and I learned this. And I'm sure that there are more things that I learned, but these are the things that I wanted to share with you because I think that you can take something from it. All right. The next thing that I learned is being more intentional about my time, who I spend my time with, being intentional about my business and how I show up in my business. And then also how I show up with my family, specifically with my son, and being present and creating moments. And so going into 2024, one of my goals is for us to go back to having like game nights and movie nights. I'm very big on buying him, board games and family games that we can play for Christmas. And I didn't do that this year simply because I didn't really see anything that I liked. And we have a ton of games that we technically still can play and have fun. He loves Monopoly. And so sometimes he beats me and sometimes I beat him. But being intentional about what I do with my time, who I'm spending my time on, what I'm spending my time on, where I'm spending my time, how I'm spending my time. And so I'm already going into 2024, already in 2024, very intentional and aware about that, about my time. And in some aspects, selfish about it, right? And I want to encourage you to do that as well, because sometimes the reason you're not really able to commit to a thing the way you need to is because your time is split in too many places and spaces, and also with too many people. The other thing, I think this is 13. I'll do 13, 14, and 15. So 13 is I'm not as good with money as I think I am. I learned that. And so I'm getting better at it. and specifically, in general, but as a business owner, like just tracking certain things. Like I have a money tracker, I have some stuff that I do, but I really want to get better at, my weekly tracking, even my daily tracking, my weekly tracking, my monthly tracking, my quarterly tracking, and even then my annual tracking, right? I sometimes am like, will do like the quarterly and the annual, but I really want to get better at this thing, right? And so that is something that I learned. It was like, child, you ain't as good as you think you are. Like you might need to, get some support in that area. And so I'm going to be praying about what that looks like for me. The other thing is I have to stop avoiding the hard stuff so I can accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. There are some hard things talked about earlier, right? I can do hard things with ease. And so once I learned, okay, you got to do the hard things because I was avoiding the hard things. It's kind of like the book Eat the Frog. And I need to go back and listen to it again. But it's basically the things that you technically don't want to do are the things that normally move the needle forward in your life, your business, ministry, or whatever, even your marriage, right? It's the conversations that need to be had, the inner work that needs, like the stuff that we avoid, right? And so I'm learning just to be transparent and honest with myself, and not that I hadn't been, but really to say it out loud, to say, bro, let's get this together. Okay. And so I am the lessons that I'm learning is that I have to stop avoiding the hard stuff so that I can accomplish the things that I want to accomplish, whether it's in my business, whether it's in my life, whatever relationships or whatever the case may be. And so I'm working through that. And then the last one, and actually 15 and 16 kind of go together. And so I'm just going to put them together. And 15 is boundaries are still necessary. And so you get to decide what that looks like for you, right? And you get to decide, like no is still a complete sentence. And so you can say no and mean it and not have to give any explanation whatsoever around, why you said no. Like no is no. And if you want to, you can, but even that explanation, I'm not going to give you an explanation for my explanation. I'm telling you no. And so be okay with that. And so for me, I'm learning, I had to be reminded again that no is still a complete sentence, that I don't have to explain myself, which goes into the boundaries. Boundaries are necessary, right? And so I get to decide and deciding not to respond is a choice. You don't need to respond to everything. And this year, I really learned that I decided that there were some things that I was not going to respond to and that I didn't need to respond to. And I was good with it, right? Peace is a good thing, right? I enjoy my peace. And that probably, I don't necessarily know if that's a reminder or a lesson, but it's definitely something that I live by. I do not like or allow people to disrupt my peace. I just won't do it, right? And so those are the things that, that were big for me. And so rest is essential. Taking naps often. God is faithful. I can do hard things with ease and sometimes without ease. Sometimes things turn out better than you thought. Help is necessary. Ask for help and support. Pay attention to the patterns and how they work for you. Paying attention to patterns works, and it helps in how you react when they show up. Know when it's time for you to pause versus when you have to lean into a thing and keep going. Invest in yourself. Make sure you're getting the return on the investment, and make sure it's you that's getting the return on the investment. Do the work. Be intentional about your time. For me, it was being intentional about my time. Who I spend my time with, my business, how I show up in my business, and how I show up with my family. That I'm not as good with money as I think I am. I have to stop avoiding the hard stuff so that I can accomplish the things that I want to. Boundaries are still necessary. I get to choose how I want to respond, and no is still a complete sentence. And so those are the top 15, not top, but those are the first 15/16 that I shared. And let me know in the comments which one resonates with you. Let me know if you made a list. Let me know what's on your list. I'd love to be able to see it. If you're on the email list, respond to the email and let me know your thoughts around that. Because I think, making the list sometimes for me, it was one of those things where I was like, you know what, like, 2023 was an interesting year, but like ultimately, like the lessons that I learned were really good lessons. And I'm going in, a lot more aware of how I want to show up this year. And I'm excited about that. And so I want you to do the same thing. And so again, take some time, do your 23 lessons from 2023. It doesn't matter that we're already into the 9th day of 2024. If you haven't taken the time to reflect on how you want to show up and what maybe some things that you really want to experience more of in 2024, I would encourage you to do that. It doesn't matter when, like you could do it in June. Like you could just decide, you know what, like the first 6 months have been kind of up and down and in and out, or they've been really good and I want to revamp some things. You can do that. Right. And so I hope that today's tea was good for you. I hope that you enjoyed my lessons and reminders from 2023. And I'll be back next week with part 2 of the 23 lessons from 2023, even though there aren't 23 lessons, right? I added a couple in there, but we don't have to tell nobody about that. So, the other thing that I wanted to share with you is enrollment for my inner circle, which is my mentorship community, is now open. It's always open, but it is now open. And so we meet every second and fourth Tuesday. And the second Tuesday is a monthly live training. And the fourth Tuesday is when we do accountability and goal setting. That's our co-working session. There are pop-up Q&A sessions that I do. We have a private community. And this is the community where it basically helps push, promote, provoke, and propel overwhelmed and overthinking Christian women how to get out of their way. It helps them to get out of their own way and to get equipped so that they can take their next best step in life, business, and ministry, right? And so this is that next best step for you if you are in a space where, you want to go from getting unstuck to get started and going from getting started to getting moving, and then being in community to do that. And so you can go to iSpeaklife, innercircle.com, iSpeakLifeInnerCircle.com. I'll change that up so you can see that down below. Registration and membership is $47 a month and $470 for the year. And I really believe that in this season, God is challenging me to equip God's daughters for the kingdom. And so, our monthly teachings really are helping to build our spiritual core and our spiritual muscle, in addition to mindset, faith, all of the things that we need, right? And sometimes it really is just a space to be able to connect with the other ladies in the group around things that are happening in our lives, right? And so it's not just all about teaching. The ladies connect, they talk, they pray. And so it's a good space to be in. We provide an opportunity for them to connect on that fourth Tuesday, but it's really in the Facebook group where you can connect with the other women, especially if you're not able to join live. There's always a replay available in the portal. Not always so much for the co-working sessions because they're co-working sessions. But if I say something in the very beginning, and there might be a message or something that I share, I always record that because nuggets are always dropped. But once we go out into like the breakout sessions and the co-working, there really isn't anything to record. And so it's important for you to try to join those every so often so that you can get a feel for what that looks like. But it's still an amazing community to be a part of. And so I want to personally invite you to join us for that, because community is something that I believe in, and cultivating a community of women who love God, who are growing to love themselves even the more and step into the fullness of who God has called them to be, is something that I'm excited about in this season. So go to iSpeakLifeInnerCircle.com to register, and so that you can join us every single month for the live training or teaching that I'm giving, as well as our co-working session. And there's some other things that are being cooked up for the inner circle that's only for the inner circle. And so you're going to want to be a part of the inner circle in order to participate. So with that being said, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I just kind of went for a blank really quickly, but make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you are liking this video. Make sure you comment below. Let me know which of the lessons or the reminders resonated with you. Let me know if you wrote a list or if you're going to write a list and what's on the list, maybe one or two things. And then also, as I've always asked you, is make sure you share this with 5 people, right? Take the link, text it to some people and say, hey, check out this week's Tuesday Tea with D, and check out all of the others. Like there's a full playlist. I think there might be I know at this point, there are over 50 videos, weekly videos that people can just kind of binge on and just get nuggets of, empowerment and inspiration and motivation, sometimes a little chin check. And so I really appreciate you being here as we go into a brand new year, a brand new tea. And I'm excited about, what God, is going to be doing for us this year. Now, I will say, if you missed pre-sale tickets for I Speak Life Live, which was amazing, by the way, make sure when tickets open up, early bird tickets open up this year, that you get your ticket. Okay. So that's that. I'm gonna drink a little bit of this fake tea, right? And I will see you next time on Tuesday Tea with D. 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 Tuesday Tea with D.